Nelson Mandela was born in Transkei, South Africa on July 18, 1918. His father was Chief Henry Mandela of the Tembu tribe. Mandela himself was educated at University of Fort Hare and the University of Witwatersrand and qualified in law in 1942. He joined the African National Congress, the ANC, in 1944 and engaged in resistance against the ruling National Party's apartheid policy after 1948. He went on trial in 1956 through 1961 and was acquitted in 1961.
After the banning of the ANC in 1960, Nelson Mandela argued for the setting up of a military wing within the ANC. In June 1961, the ANC executive considered his proposal on the use of violent tactics and agreed that those members who wished to involve themselves in Mandela's campaign would not be stopped from doing so by the ANC. This led to the formation of Umkhonto we Sizwe. Mandela was arrested in 1962 and was sentenced to 5 years of imprisonment with hard labor. In 1963, when many of his fellow leaders of the ANC and Umkhonto we Sizwe were arrested, Mandela brought to stand trial with them for plotting to overthrow the government by violence. His statement was docked, received considerable international publicity. On June 12, 1964, 8 of the accused, including Mandela, were sentenced to life imprisonment. From 1964 to 1982, he was incarcerated at Robbins Island Prison off Cape Town. Thereafter, he was at Pollsmoor Prison nearby on the mainland.
During his years in prison, Nelson Mandela's reputation grew steadily. He was widely accepted as the most significant black leader in South Africa and became a potent symbol of resistance as the anti-apartheid movement gathered strength. He consistently refused to compromise his political position to obtain his freedom.
Nelson Mandela was released on February 11, 1990. After his release, he plunged himself wholeheartedly into his life's work, striving to attain the goals he and others had set out almost 4 decades earlier. In 1991, at the first national conference of the ANC, held inside South Africa after the organization had been banned in 1960, Mandela was elected president of the ANC, while his lifelong friend and colleague, Oliver Tambo, became the organization's national chairperson.
In 1993, Mandela and President de Klerk were jointly awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for their work towards dismantling apartheid. Due in no small part to their work, negotiations between black and white South Africans prevailed on April 27, 1994. South Africa held its first democratic elections. Nelson Mandela was inaugurated as the country's first black president on May 10th at the age of 77, and de Klerk as his deputy.
Also in 1994, Mandela published his autobiography, Long Walk to Freedom, much of which he had secretly written while he was in prison. The following year, he was awarded the Order of Merit.
From 1994 until June 1999, Mandela worked to bring about the transitions from minority rule and apartheid to black majority rule. He used the nation's enthusiasm for sports as a pivot point to promote reconciliation between whites and blacks, encouraging black South Africans to support the once hated national rugby team. In 1995, South Africa came to the world stage by hosting the Rugby World Cup, which brought further recognition and prestige for the young republic.
Mandela also worked to protect South Africa's economy from collapse during his presidency. Through his Reconstruction and Development Plan, the South African government funded the creation of jobs, housing, and basic health care. In 1996, Mandela signed into law a new constitution, establishing a strong central government based on the majority rule and guaranteeing the rights of minorities and freedom of expression.
Mandela is gone, and yet he is not. He lives in our hearts. He lives in the thought of men living free in equality. Mandela lives here, as vital as ever. He lives in the world that still makes us shiver. The load weighs a ton until the work's done. He lives on in the work. We too cannot shirk. Mandela, Mandela!